It's been quite a while since I've played Bowser's Fury, so I decided to play it again with the goal of ranking every island in the game. There's only 12 of them, and I'll rank them based on how much fun they are to traverse and how much fun the cat shines are to collect. This is probably gonna be a short video, so without further ado, let's get started. 12. Firststep Island. It's the first island in the game, so it makes sense it's the worst one. Not only is it a very small island, but it also has little to offer. The cat shines are all very basic and are collected in a matter of seconds, except for the cat shards, which makes sense, but even that one is very easy. I do like how there's a ship here, but otherwise this island has barely any substance. 11. Swip Coliseum. If you like fighting bosses, then you're gonna love this island, because pretty much all that you do here is find cat shards and fight the same two bosses, being Boom Boom and Pom Pom. These two bosses are barely even qualified as bosses, and while Boom Boom does have a more difficult boss fight later with the floor made out of spikes, that barely says anything because it's still just Boom Boom. For the rest, there's barely anything to do here. It's an overall very lame island, if you can even call it that. 10. Roiling Roller Isle. Oh yeah, I sure do love waiting on platforms to spin around. That's totally not a joke at all. And that's literally the entire premise of this island. There's a lot of platforms shaped in weird ways that spin around, and all you do here is just platform to the end. And that might sound like fun, but again, most of the time it's just waiting on these platforms doing nothing. And my god, the cat shards are put in literally the dumbest spots. Like, who would ever think of, hey, let's jump down this spot here and land on an invisible cloud? Like, what? At least some of the cat shines, like this one with the timer, are somewhat enjoyable, but otherwise this island is just boring. 9. Pipe Path Tower. I have no idea what the general consensus is on this island, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. This island is mostly made up of clear pipes, and while the island is designed really well, it does get pretty tiring to play after a while. But the cat shines here are honestly pretty good. For the blue coins one, you really have to have a great understanding of the level's layout before they disappear, and I really like the one with the key because instead of riding the pipes, you have to walk on top of them, which creates a very nice challenge, even though it's not difficult to do. So yeah, while I don't find this island to be the most fun, I do like some of the cat shines here. 8. Fort Flaptrap. By far the smallest island in the game, even smaller than Swip Coliseum. This one has a fortress in the center and uses these flipping panels for most of the cat shines. For one shine you have to take out some bullies, another one involves defeating magic Goopas, and there's even one with the blue coins, which I really like. There's a few places where you can really use the flipping panels in clever ways, and this island does make great use of them, either having you use them to your advantage or having to use them carefully to avoid falling in the lava below. It is a very small island though, so I can't really put it much higher. 7. Risky Whisker Island. Quite a unique island, as the majority of the floor is made of donut blocks. This makes navigating the island quite a nifty challenge, especially when chasing Luigi around or getting the cat shards, and there's barely any safe ground below you. If you fall, you pretty much have to restart from the beginning, and my god, that timed cat shine is one of my favorites in the entire game. Having to quickly traverse across these donut blocks and use the soccer balls to break the last wall or even take a shortcut is really cool. I just wish this island was a bit bigger, but it's nothing too bad. 6. Scamper Shores. I consider this to be the actual first island in the game, because it actually has some proper platforming to do. It's probably the island that resembles a Mario 3D World level the most, with a slight touch of Mario Odyssey, and it creates this sort of hybrid layout which I really enjoy. The cat shines are all designed really well, even though some of the cat shard locations are pretty stupid, but even then it's still quite enjoyable. It's only a shame there's no boss here, especially considering there's already a huge lack of those in the game, but regardless, this is still a very solid island. 5. Pounce Bounce Isle. If bouncing is your game, then you're gonna love this island. Pounce Bounce Isle mainly consists of these bounce pads that launch you in the air, which results in the island being mostly vertically built. It's a ton of fun to use these bounce pads, and while they're not used in any super creative ways, just the layout of this island makes it so much fun to navigate. All of the shines here are quite fun to collect, especially the timed one and the one with the key. This is a great island, even though it's fairly short. 4. Trickety Tower. The island with by far the most creative gimmick, being the invisible paths. And this island makes great use of this gimmick, having you avoid spike bars rolling around or thrown by spikes. The layout of the island is also really good, really taking advantage of the entire gimmick by having you climb to the top of the tower. And all of the cat shines also use this gimmick in really good ways. Even the Fury Block shine does this really well, which most of the other islands do not. So yeah, this is a really good island. 3. Chris Climb Castle. Yep, that's a pretty accurate title. You'll be climbing up this big snowy fortress using the propeller box, and it's actually a ton of fun. The entire island is very well designed and flows incredibly nicely, and all of the cat shines are a ton of fun to collect. The way this island makes use use of the propeller item is really cool, especially during the timer challenge, as there's a lot of rotating platforms moving in unique ways. It's an overall really solid island, even though there's not much to say about it. 2. Slipskate Slope. By far the most linear island in the game, Slipskate Slope uses a skate as its main gimmick, and you'll have to use it to traverse the entire level. One time you're skating over clouds, the other inside this giant tube of rotating wheels, or even on top of it for some secrets. And my god, that catshine with the key is so cool. You have to bring it back to the start while platforming across very narrow paths and ledges, and it makes for a very memorable catshine. This island is very creative and a bunch of fun, but just not the best. And number 1 is Mount Magow. Terrible name aside, this is definitely the best and most fun island in the game. You'll climb up this big lava mountain while using switchboards in creative ways. I have always loved climbing big mountains like this in Mario games, and this is certainly no exception. All of the catshines here are a ton of fun to collect, and I especially like the timed switch one because it's a pretty tight timer. There's not a lot more to say, it's just an overall very enjoyable island and definitely my favorite in the game. But that was it for this video. It's a pretty short one, but I still hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and do all that fancy stuff, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.